Okay, this fly I'm going to tie is called a Jay's Dun Caddis. It's a slow water caddis or a spent caddis. It's just low in the water, but the technique I used is interesting, a little different than a lot of caddis. The body or the wing of this, and this is another one of these flies that will have some separate material preparation. These are dun body feathers. They could be any of these wide body type feathers. They could come from the side of an Indian neck, other fly tying necks, or they could be some of the body material that you can purchase from some of the materials dealers. Anyway, this is the wing. I'm using 2 feathers, and I'm going to lay them on top of each other like this, and even up the points. And this fly, depending on the color of the material that you have, I like this gray material, but you can use blacks, browns, anything that would fit with the caddis. We'll cut those feather stems off, and I'm just going to continue to peel the wing. Now, at some point, I need to have a measuring stick here and judge my the length I'm making these. So we'll use a hook here for my measuring gauge. I'm going to use a size 12 dry fly hook. And we're going to use the hook shank as our measuring gauge. And what I want to do is lay this on top of the hook as I peel this down, and I'm going to make the wing feather here just approximately as long as the entire hook from the back of the bend to the front of the eye. A little more to take off here. Just peel the fibers off. And again, I have 2 feathers here, so I'm peeling them both together. And a little bit more. And that pretty much is the entire length of the hook from the back of the bend to the end of the eye. Okay, to finish this guy off, my wing preparation, I'm going to take one of the flexible type cements with these 2 feathers lined up, and I'm going to coat this for just a second with one of the flexible materials. This happens to be a loon product, but anything will work. And as it starts to dry just a little bit, I'm going to pull this just very gently and make this into a little bit of a teardrop shape. This feather doesn't have to move very far to become a nice little teardrop. And do it like that, set it aside and let it dry while you do the rest of the fly. Alrighty, I'm going to use a 6/0 thread. In this case, it's a light tan color. You could use gray, you could use a white, you could use something, but complementary to, more or less complementary, or not too radical to the. So I'm going to attach my thread and wrap it back towards the eye of the hook. Now, for the body of this fly, I'm going to use some fibers off of a goose quill. It has a nice gray color, and 3 or 4 fibers of this wrapped around the hook will make a very nice segmented looking body that looks very nice as a caddis. Take a few strands off of there. We'll tie it in by the tip of the feather fibers. Now you could use any material that you'd like for this. Quill material, could be pheasant tail if you wanted that color body, or speckled. Since I have a gray wing, I'm going to use a gray feather for this. You could use turkey feather, use anything that you'd like to get whatever color that you'd like. And we'll wrap this body material forwards evenly. And we have this nice little segmented, good color caddis body. Tie this off and remove the excess material. Okay, we'll take the wing that we prepared and we're going to set it on top of here. I'm going to make a very low profile. Now, I have this feather, and again, we made it the entire length of the hook, from the eye to the end of the hook. Now I'm going to take my pointed end of this, and I'm going to set it in just behind the eye of the hook. And I'm going to take a gentle wrap over it, and I'm going to wrap back here just a little bit to the body. What this does by wrapping back over the feather is it cups it over the hook just a little bit, gives a little bit of this tent-shaped wing of a caddis. And the two feather stems that I have here will make the antenna for our finished fly. At this point I can go forwards and I can split these two antennae. If I can get all of them. I can. Split one off to the right and one to the left. Now, these were designed to be a relatively, that's awfully long for my antenna. I can shorten it later, but there we have it at that point. Okay, for a hackle feather, I'm going to put on a Dun hackle. And again, you can make it complementary to the color you've chosen. I'm going to oversize it a little bit. You notice I have quite a fairly short area for my hackle. And I'm going to oversize it. Instead of a size 12, I'm going to look at something that would be an oversized 12. If in doubt of the Dun hackle here, if in doubt of the size of this feather or how to judge it, I can take this and I can bend it around the hook. Now, a traditional dry fly hackle would be 1.5 gaps from the shank of the hook to the point of the hook. Okay, this is wrapped around here. It's a good 2 times, so that's an oversized hackle. Just exactly what I wanted. I'm going to take my hackle, trim it off so that I get any of the webby material out of the picture with this. I'm going to tie this feather stem on the side towards me. This will be tied in as a dry fly hackle so that the lighter side, or the concave side, will be facing forwards. Get a pair of hackle pliers here, and I'm going to wrap this. Again, this is a relatively slow water, sparse caddis. It's not a rough water fly. I'm going to get 1, 2, 3. On a size 12, I'm going to get 4 wraps of hackle on here, and I'm going to tie it off. This fly works excellently as a spent caddis, and spent caddis is an overlooked aspect of caddis. If there's a great caddis emergence, some evenings fish will pick up, and people take an interest in spent caddis. One of the times you don't think about using caddis, or a spent one, is sometime in the morning when you can't figure out what the darn fish are taking. Maybe it's a midge that's a size too small to even consider fishing. If there's caddis around and there's been spent caddis in the evenings on occasion, you can fish this in the mornings or to a hatch and fish will pick it up because they've seen them before, and it's a much nicer bite than a size 20-something midge. But if fish are used to seeing them, they'll pick them up during the daytime as something that died during the night and has recently washed offshore and now becomes into the food chain. I'm going to finish this. Now, we aren't quite finished with this because as a low water or low floating spent caddis or low water caddis, I really need this to sit down nice and low in the water. And I don't really need any of this hackle that goes up. The real drawback about this fly is it's not extremely visible to the angler, but they work so well. A lot of people will have foregone that particular problem and use it quite a bit. Now I've cut the top hackle down. I'm going to hook this on a pair of forceps. My forceps for just a second. I'm going to turn it over, and I'm going to snip the bottom hackle off, even with the hook point, and try not to cut off that antenna. I'll put the scissors right on top of my hook, and snip that so that when I set this down, it's going to have a nice flat profile in the water, sits low, and fish find it quite attractive. You can, if you leave the antenna this long and you decide that I usually don't have much trouble with this spinning, but you can shorten these at any time that you'd like to. Anyway, there's a finished Dun Caddis, and hopefully that fly will, if you choose to tie that one and forego the visibility, it'll be a good fly for you.